and the car stopped and backflipped over them. I've been lucky enough in my racing not to have to pay for my crash damage. Now in sprint cars, we only got enough sponsorship for the actual racing, so it comes out of my pocket if I do put it in the wall or do get into an incident. But yeah, there's two really scary ones. I think a lot of people were scared. And the first one was Petit Le Mans 2014. We were on full push mode from the get-go as my co-drivers got spun out in turn 7, got hindsighted. And once we got hindsighted, we went 3 laps down before we got the car back running. So I ended up doing 5.5 out of 10 hours. It was me, Eric Lux, and Tom Kimber-Smith. And we were in the lead in the last hour with 18 minutes left. And this wasn't like a race where everyone fell out of. This is one where we fought. We were in the right place. 8-Star Motorsports, Gary Neal, Yves Turin, everyone, Enzo was on it in regards to driver changes, track position, pit time. I mean, we manipulated the system and we killed it. It's 18 minutes to go. You know, everyone in the prototypes, especially with the slower GT cars back then, because that was before the new generation, the GT3, everyone's passing down through that. So as a prototype, you get a run out 3, you get low, you pass them around, going into 4. I think it was Tracy Crone, and Tracy Crone just turned, like basically tracked out while I'm there. And I don't know whether a spotter didn't tell me I had a prototype coming up. And in my opinion, you know, in the last hour of a race, regardless, you know, I think a pro should be in, especially at night at Petit Le Mans. But regardless, he's, you know, turns left and then he just starts tracking out. And I'm flat out. And I think in a PC car, you're 135, 140 miles an hour down going into the S is flat. And I got to the point that race, the car was so good, everything was so comfortable. I turned in flat, even passing GT cars. He just came across and clipped the left rear. And when the left rear hit, I turned back around. And basically the wall's right here down in the S's. And I turned like this, paralleled with the wall. And then those tire barriers that they put, that they changed after this incident. There's a tire barrier set down there and the car stopped and backflipped over them. I don't remember getting out, breaking up with my ex-girlfriend a month later, any of this. All I can, I hear, it was funny, I was sitting at a bar and someone was talking about Petit Le Mans one day at Atkins Park down in Atlanta, and this girl was like, yeah, we go to Petit Le Mans every year, that's what you do. And I was like, yeah. She's like, yeah, we sit in turn 4. I asked her, I said, do you remember that bad wreck in like, I think it was like 2014? And she's like, oh my God, in the orange car? I didn't think, he was in there for like a minute before he got out. When I woke up, I was like, realized it was upside down. I think the car actually did catch fire or something. And I like pulled, I guess, my buckle before I pulled the steering wheel off. So then I got even more stuck. I mean, besides the fact that I just hit my head at like a 98G hit, you know, that wasn't big enough. It was the fact that I apparently got myself stuck. I passed the impact test apparently 3 weeks after this. Sure enough, I qualified on Thunder Hill, pulled 25 hours of Thunder Hill when I right after that wreck, and I don't even remember being at the race. It was actually pretty lucky. I think there was a time that I was out of a ride for like 3 or 4 months with the way the Indy Lights deal worked out in the end and with Enzo and stuff. But I think it's probably good that I was out of the seat for a little while and just kind of like let my head rest, because I'm pretty sure if I would have hit it after that, I probably would have been a vegetable. When I look back at it, the fact that I was there and kind of, they were really worried. And everyone was saying at Petit, you know, my eyes, there's a picture of me talking to Tom Kimber-Smith, and you just see my eyes are bloodshot. Apparently Tracy came up. I don't remember. But I just was like, literally called him an incompetent word that I'm not going to say, and told him to get the F out of my pits. And then like literally everyone was so mad because they were so like, hey, I was their boy. Like 8-Star, like I was 8-Star's kid. Like even Enzo to this day calls me the kid. Everyone was so mad because they knew I wasn't all there. Like they knew that this was a big one, right? You know, I mean, there's people thinking I died. But going over the data, and it took me a while to really wrap my head around like 98 Gs. And then someone was talking about like a big wreck they had at like 65. And I was like, I think my Petit one was 98. Let me call Yves. And they're like, and you raced Thunder Hill? He's like, there's no way you wouldn't be here. And I like called up Yves and like went through the data. And it was Magnetti Morelli we used back then. That was before we went to the Motec dashes in LMPC. Yeah, it was a big hit and they were worried. And then it was It was one of those deals where, yeah, it was like, I think that one was definitely, it was like basically a whole new car. Like engine, transmission, there's not anything. The steering wheel even was like apparently bent. Like, I guess I had my hands on, didn't have time getting spun in the S's to pull my hands off the steering wheel. The steering wheel was bent like this. I still got the steering wheel at my dad's house from it. It's the only part, like Enzo mailed it to me. He's like, here's this kid. The next big one, it almost cost us the championship in 2017. I was at VIR, testing a Ferrari GT3 car right before the World Challenge race for an AMT. This Ferrari hadn't been out token in a couple years. My dad was having open heart surgery that day that I found out about. My parents didn't tell me until after I'd already flown there, so I didn't give up the deal. And apparently about 10 laps into the session out of turn 10, the bend at the top of the hill, car had an ugly bottom out on the curb, and I shot, I guess it's probably 140 there as well when you're coming out of that, when you're really digging in a GT3, and it turned left, and I took the guardrail out of the ground. I hit so hard that the carbon fiber seat on the Ferrari GT3 broke, and there's a gash on my helmet for where I hit the front roll bar. Someone looked at the video, and I didn't know how bad it was, but apparently I was on the phone with Jonathan George, and Jonathan's like asking me, you know, I'm talking to Dr. Calvert Jones that racing Pirelli World Challenge because he's a brain doctor. So he's like, yeah, we need to get this kid. He doesn't even know where he is right now. I'm on the phone with Jonathan, and then I said, hey, hold on one second. And then I didn't even look at the phone apparently, and I just put the phone back to my ear. I was like, who is this? I think I broke up with my girlfriend at that time too. I don't know, maybe, they say you get angry. Maybe I was the problem the whole time. I don't know. I'll blame all my exes on my concussion. Sorry, ladies. I don't remember getting back. I just remember I had to call someone to get a neurologist, and it was Dr. Angela Gabella, who was actually in Alpharetta, and she'd work with a lot of hockey players, which obviously have a lot of concussion. I was still messed up from the first wreck, she found out. There's a part, you know, and when you really get into neurology, you start to really understand the brain when you're having to go there for an hour a day. And it was hard, and I shouldn't have raced Monza 2 weeks later. And I did, and I made a really big mistake. I almost cost us a championship. I collided with a lap car. I thought I had it. I thought the Brawn should have known that I was coming up. He didn't. And wrecked it. It almost ruined our championship. The whole team was mad. And I mean, at that point in time, the only thing I really remember is being super pissed off all weekend for no reason, no apparent reason. So I don't know, that you don't really mess with the head. I would say, you know, racing incidents happen when you're door to door with anyone, without a doubt. That Ferrari would be like the only car that I've done on my own, like with not a car involved around me or anything. The race at Petit was definitely non-void, not my fault. From a racing standpoint, that's one thing I've been very good at, is being ahead of the car. And my dad actually says that a lot. He says, you know, you're just not a wrecker. You know, and I've been pretty smart. And when it comes to racing, I do have a lot of short track racing craft. So I've, like, IMSA got on to me at the end of last year because I actually moved John Halen out of the way in a prototype in the PC race. Like, I knew how to, you know, basically make him push out and stuff like that. And I was a very aggressive driver, but very methodical the way I did it. But when you were grew up like me, I was running 40 races a year on a short track. You know, you start to learn some tricks of the trade, and, you know, you kind of use those as you can. That way you don't have to put the car at jeopardy all the time.
Going somewhere in a hurry, ma'am? Let me explain your options.
Never mind, I got this.
TheTicketClinic.com